Goodness. Oh, goodness. Struggles. I swear. I have more struggles. Here I am trying to figure this out. My husband is in the other room trying to put up our microwave, so he's making a little bit of noise. So I thought I would come in here, and it's like super bright in this room, and you can see my dirty closet. But hey, it's Dr. Annette. If it wasn't for craziness, I would have no anything going on at all. Hey, Lynn, thanks for tracking me down. I'm sorry I couldn't figure out how to make the other live work. I think it was probably going to start on my computer, and who knows, it may be running on my computer right now, but I couldn't figure out how to turn it on or get on it. I don't know. I tried to do all these new technology things, and it just turns out to be a struggle. So here I am. I started a new live, and if for those of you that are new, please say that you're new. Please tell me where you're from in the comments. For those of you that stick with me through the whole video, I'm going to have a little treat for you. So stick around till the very end. Give me some hearts. Let me know you're here. Let me know you can see me and hear me. Hey, Pam. So we are talking about insulin and why or how insulin can make you fat. Now, I know a lot of people don't think about insulin on a daily basis because they're not diabetic. They don't think they have to worry about blood sugar. We have a lot of misconceptions in our society about blood sugar and how beneficial it is to keep your blood sugar at a manageable level. Hey, Penny, please tell me where you're from. Drop me some hearts and likes. Let me know you can hear me. Stay till the end to get a special surprise. Something that people don't really understand is that even though you might not be diabetic or hypoglycemic, blood sugar is still something that's very important to managing your health. And if you are not paying attention to your blood sugar levels and how your body manages sugar, then you are not really giving yourself the proper care and living your life to the fullest. Hey, thanks for the likes. So I just wanted to explain quickly why insulin is important to keep track of. So what happens in your body whenever you eat something that has carbohydrates in it, whether that be breads and pastas or vegetables or berries or fruit juice or any of those things, whenever you eat something that has carbohydrates in it, your body has an innate response, which is to create glucose. It makes glucose out of the sugar, but it creates insulin to manage that blood sugar, because the sugar that your body absorbs from your food ends up in your liver to be processed by your body. And when you have sugar, it has to be managed. So, sorry, I got off track for a second. I lost my balance and forgot what I was going to say. Hey, everybody, tell us where you're from. Share this if you think somebody might benefit from it. So here's the deal. You eat something that has sugar in it, your body turns into glucose. Your body must release insulin in order for that sugar to be used by most of the cells in the body. Some cells in the body can take sugar directly up, but most cannot. So your insulin level goes up, and then your sugar is able to get into the cells. So insulin is like the key. Insulin is the key that opens the cell and lets the sugar in, and then the sugar creates energy. Hey, Australia, nice to see you. Great. So your cell opens up and lets the sugar in, and then it creates energy, which is why athletes use carb loading and things like that to have energy before an event. But we're not talking about that right now. That's a whole nother subject. So insulin raises whenever you eat something that has sugar in it, and then it brings the sugar in your blood down because the sugar has then gone into your cells. So what happens with people who eat a lot of sugar or carbohydrates is your insulin is constantly going up, 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 because it's trying to get the sugar down, 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 because your body is not designed to have a lot of sugar floating around in the blood. It's really supposed to be stored in the liver and in the muscles. And if your body has more sugar than it can store, then it has to store it in the fat. And that's why we get fat if we eat more sugar than our bodies can utilize properly. So when your fat cells that start out as tiny, tiny, tiny little fat cells get full and full and full and full and full of fat, eventually they start leaking fat out of those cells because the cells just can't hold any more fat. And that sugar that's been turned into fat starts leaking out. And this is what causes high triglycerides and high blood sugar and things like that, because your body doesn't have any place else to stow it. So sugar, unfortunately, when you eat sugar, you don't just burn it off and urinate it out or something like people do with vitamins that are, when you have an overabundance of vitamins or even an overabundance of protein. So your body has to do something with it. It has to store it, it has to put it somewhere. So your insulin keeps going up to keep your sugar down, and the more sugar and the more fat you have in your body, the higher it pushes that insulin. So the insulin is constantly storing sugar and stuffing it into those fat cells when it has an abundance of it, which is why you just keep getting fluffier and fluffier. So I know a lot of people that have diabetes are always watching their sugar levels, but most people don't pay any attention to their insulin level. And a lot of doctors don't really educate people on insulin. But insulin in the body causes additional inflammation. Fat in the body causes additional inflammation. And when your fat cells are overloaded and things like toxins and viruses and hormones and all of those things that are stored in your fat are being forced out and tried to be held back in, there's just a lot of inflammation. There's a lot of confusion for the body because it doesn't know what to do with all these things that it's already tried to pack away, but now they're leaking out and getting everywhere. So how many of you know somebody who's overweight and just really doesn't feel good? I bet if you know anybody that's overweight, they don't feel good. And they probably tell you they don't feel good. So I know we've all seen overweight. We've all been overweight. Everybody struggles with it a little bit unless you've just been one of those really, really metabolically lucky people, or you were raised by people who understood your metabolism really well. So yeah, I'm getting some likes there. I know a lot of people that just don't feel well. And a lot of that is because their body is full of toxins and inflammation because of that process that we just discussed. So, but all of your cells have receptors, and those receptors are designed to connect to the insulin to open the door and let the sugar in. So when there's a lot of that going on, it causes your body to just not function properly. It can cause brain fog and sore muscles and all kinds of things. But even on top of that, having a lot of sugar in your body causes inflammation. And people always used to say that the cholesterol and fat was the cause of cardiovascular disease. But what's really the cause of cardiovascular disease is carbohydrates and sugar, and the fact that your body uses cholesterol to patch the damage that's caused by all that inflammation. So that's how cholesterol got a bad name years ago, because cholesterol was trying to fix the damage, and because it was at the scene of the crime. Whenever somebody had cardiovascular issues, it was blamed on cholesterol, but it really wasn't the cholesterol's fault. It was sugar and insulin's fault that happened because of the inflammation in the arteries. So if you, don't forget to stick with me till the end because I have a surprise for you. And please be sure to share this if you think anybody would benefit from this. I know a lot of people don't realize that insulin actually is a key player. It's a hormone that your body makes, and it actually works with and against cortisol. There are really 5 roadblocks to maintaining a healthy weight. The number one reason is insulin, which is caused by sugar levels in the body. Estrogen, too high of estrogen. Sorry, Teresa. I know. Hopefully you can forgive me. So high insulin, high estrogen. Hey, Billy Funk. Nice to see you. Thanks, everybody, for the likes. Your thyroid can be low. Your cortisol can be too high, and inflammation can be too high. And we just mentioned high inflammation a minute ago, which can be caused by insulin being too high all the time because you're not eating properly, you're getting too many carbs and sugar into your diet, and you're not burning them off before your body has to find a place to store them. So all of that causes a lot of confusion for the body, and it makes you store all that fat. And eventually your storage containers get too full and things start to leak out. And I'm seeing some comments about arthritis and hypothyroid. Those are all inflammatory conditions. And definitely, it means that you should watch what you're eating and make sure that you're keeping your inflammation down, and changing your lifestyle and eating different can definitely make a big difference where that comes from. So, so your body is storing sugar. And did you know that if your body has 3 to 5 grams of sugar is all your blood can store at any one time. If you have more than 6 grams of sugar in your blood, you can go into a coma. But if you have less than 3 grams of blood sugar, you can go into a coma. So there's a gentle balance there, and your body works very, very hard to keep that balance properly maintained. So if you're putting more carbs and more sugar in there than your body can manage, that's when you start getting insulin issues. That's when you start getting cortisol issues, because those two things work to balance each other out. So when your cells get resistant to insulin, it makes you, your body doesn't function well with carbohydrates. It can cause brain fog and all kinds of things like that. So 5 things that that you might look for if you're concerned that you might be what we'll call insulin resistant, because your body is becoming resistant to the amount of insulin because it sees too much of it. Too much insulin in your body causes insulin resistance, which means it takes more and more and more insulin to do the same job as it did before, to get that sugar into the cells and to keep that sugar stowed away in those fat cells and keep all of that stuff under control. So if you crave sweets, then you could have an insulin problem. If you get tired in the afternoon, like after you eat, you get tired, or if you absolutely can't have a meal without having dessert, you have to have sugar after the meal, that definitely could be a sign that you have some insulin issues. If you have something called acanthos migricans, and I probably did not say that right, what that is like a dark marks around your neck or in your armpit areas. You can get them in different places on your body, like in between your elbows and different things. If you have those darkenings and it's like a crusty, it almost looks like you need to take a scrub brush to somebody to get the dirt off of like the back of their neck or whatever. That's a common thing that means that they have too much insulin floating around in their body. Also, skin tags. If you have skin tags on your skin, like around your neck, in different areas where your clothes rub and stuff, it's not from your clothes rubbing you. It's actually because you have too much insulin in your system. And high insulin is caused by carbohydrates going in and your body trying to manage those carbohydrates. And then also all that fat that's being stored that cannot no longer stay in those cells, when it starts leaking out, that goes to triglycerides. Triglycerides in your blood are cholesterol molecules that have sugar attached to them, because your body just can't manage the carbohydrates anymore. So if you're concerned about that, it's definitely something to take a look at. So, I talk all the time about fat burners and sugar burners, and, you cannot be a fat burner and a sugar burner at the same time. Now, you can train your body to be a sugar burner and then switch gears and go to a fat burner. We call that a dual fuel, and you can do that, and I can help you figure out how to do that. If you would like more information, just let me know. Also, if you're interested in the special gift that I have for you, at the end, you must make a comment on this video in order to get the special prize that I have for you. It's a special gift. It actually is a recipe that I love. It's one of the best pizza crust recipes I've had since I went gluten-free. It also happens to be low in carbohydrates, and it turns out to be an amazing pizza crust, but you can use it for several other things. So if you comment, you will get a link to that recipe. So anyway, I just really wanted to share a little bit about insulin and blood sugar, and people who think that they can just take more insulin to eat more sugar, you're really not getting the point. The whole point of managing blood sugar is to use the least amount of insulin that you can possibly use, because you want to keep your inflammation low, you want to keep your carbohydrates low, you want to keep your body functioning the way it was designed to function, which was not on cake and pasta. I'm sorry. Cavemen did not eat cake and pasta. And I know some people are going to argue that we live longer now than the cavemen did, but we are also not being chased by saber-toothed tigers. We also have sanitation, we have running water, we have a lot of things that people 100 and 200 and 300 years ago did not have, that make our lives easier and better and safer and more sanitary. But also we have more disease, and we die from things that are completely controllable. And yeah, you're not going to die from being chased by a saber-toothed tiger or a woolly mammoth or whatever it was that cavemen had to fight. So you're not going to die from those kinds of things, but you're going to die from an inability to manage your body's function. So I'm all about optimizing bodies. I like to help people run at their optimal levels. That's what I do. Also, if you're interested in more information about rebooting your system, I can help you with that. Just put reboot in the comments below. REBOOT. If you type reboot, you will get information on my next reboot that we'll be doing. I believe it's March 11th. We have one that's starting tomorrow, but all of the supplies are gone and we're going to have to restock. So if you're interested in the reboot, type reboot below. If you're here on a replay, type replay. If you're new, just let me know that you're new. Send me some hearts, send me some likes. I love that. And if you think this was beneficial information for someone to know, please share this video with your friends and family and let them know that insulin, although it is necessary and good in a lot of ways, it is not good for you to have high insulin. It really is not. So if you're using artificial sweeteners or things like that to make you able to drink 0-calorie drinks, a lot of those 0-calorie drinks have sweeteners in them that literally raise your insulin, even though you're not eating any sugar. And that is not good for your body because it's inflammatory. So I could go on all day about this topic. Believe me, I really, really could. But if you'd like to know more about a dual fuel system where your body can burn fat and burn sugar, not simultaneously, but it can switch back and forth, or you'd like to find out how to reboot, detox, rebuild, repair your system, put reboot in the comments below. And everybody who comments will get the recipe that I was talking about. It's an amazing pizza recipe. I think you're going to love it. And please share this with your friends and family if you think they'll benefit. And thank you very much. And I hope you all stay warm and dry. The weather here is looking kind of yucky. I just don't like wintertime. I cannot wait for spring. Thanks for all the likes and hearts. I love it. That is so cool to watch those go across the screen. You all have a wonderful afternoon.